carrots. Fake fruit. Fake. Fake grapefruit. Fake. Liar! You liar!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. It is the Friday free for all, and we've got X, thepreparedmind.club, and subscribestar.com here. All of you are live, and I'm going to kick this Friday free for all off with something that is rather disturbing. So everyone beware, this is going to be disturbing. And I wonder if people who show up late to the video go back to the beginning and watch. I would hope, because X typically takes a while for the Xers to trickle in. But I like to start every program off coming out the gate with something really big. But it's Friday free for all, folks. And what I want from you is get your questions and comments into the comment section. If you're on X, click on the video and it should pop up a comment box. But yeah, questions in, because we're going to go shotgun style on the free for all, which means I'm going to say something, then it's your turn to pick a topic, then me again, then you guys, and back and forth, mixing it up a little bit from how we do it through the week. Well, this week has turned out to be quite a hell of a week with some interesting things happening. I want to know what's most important to you. To me, the most important thing is our constitutional republic, our national sovereignty, our national interest that should not be influenced by Palestinians or Israelis or China or Europe or anybody. It should be about America and America first, and that's how I roll. So let's start with this. I'm going to kick it off. You guys, questions down below, comments, predictions, etc. I'm going to give you something right from the horse's mouth. This is an admission of war crimes. The admission is to a Holocaust perpetuated by those who have used the Holocaust to justify their mass murder of children and the innocent. Am I lying? Am I making this up? Am I full of shit? I want you to listen to this direct quote, and this is not a lie. This is a person who is sitting up in front of an audience, speaking to the public and admitting this awful statement. Here is the quote. I am personally proud of the Holocaust of Gaza, and that 80 years from now, they will tell their grandchildren what the Jews did. This came, folks, not from just some random person pretending to be a Jew or Israeli. This isn't coming from a rabbi or some radical person. This is coming from the Israeli Minister of Social Equality. Where is the equality in a statement like this? Right? This is another one of these reverse things. It should be the Minister of Social Inequality, because here's the quote again. I am personally proud of the Holocaust of Gaza. That's an admission that they've committed a Holocaust. And talking about their future, 80 years from now, they will tell their grandchildren what the Jews did. Now, who are Nazi quality evil in this world right now? Who is genocidal? Who likes Holocausts? Who is supremacist and need to be sanctioned and denied like Iran has been, right? Don't you think that Israel should be sanctioned? Denied access to world markets like Iran? That's right, Israel, right? That's who it is. Folks, I don't like any of these people in the Middle East, and I'm going to tell you why. The Israelis, through their Talmud, say it's okay to have sex with children. The Israelis, through their teachings, say it's okay to rob, cheat, steal, and even murder Gentiles, non-Jews. They even say it's okay to kill their own as long as it promotes and creates more power for the government of Israel. And I don't like the Palestinians because they're Muslim. And they say similar things. We know that Muhammad married a 9-year-old. And they love pedophilia and they love rape also. They say if you're an infidel, a non-Muslim. Right? So the Israelis have goyim, us, non-Jews. And the Muslims have infidels, non-Muslims. And both sides want to kill us. Both sides want to influence government. In fact, there is now a ceasefire in Israel, which is great. There's a ceasefire in Gaza. Great. Except now the Palestinians in Canada and America are marching saying it wasn't just about Israel. It's about everything. In other words, they're still saying down with America, death to Canada, death to the West, death to Christianity. They both say that. None of these people are our friends, folks. Both sides intend to use us and screw us. And I'm tired of all of them. I'm tired of the fucking Chinese. I'm tired of Europe. All of them. So interestingly, and I want to bring this up and make this point. The world at this point, economically, financially, monetarily, right, don't trust anyone anymore. They don't trust the dollar the way they used to. They don't trust each other's currencies at all. The US dollar is still the prettiest horse in the slaughter pen, but it is an ugly horse, and it is a lame horse, and it's going down. For the first time in over, I think, 30 years, nations are holding more gold than US dollars in order to conduct trade. In other words, countries won't trust each other, but they trust gold. In gold we trust. Interesting stuff. But America first. America first. Other countries can be for their countries, that's fine. But America needs to get rid of all these Palestinians, the Palestinian influence, all this money that's being thrown into our country by Muslims and Far East countries. Same with the Israelis. We need to get them out, get their money out, get their influence out of Washington. I'm disgusted with Netanyahu and his bullshit and his lies, bragging about the bullshit he did, bragging that he controls the president, bragging that Israel controls Congress, bragging that they own our country, listening to rabbi after rabbi shitting on our country, listening to Muslim imam shitting on our country left and right. I'm done with them, folks. Shit is hit the fan. Things are going down. We need to protect ourselves and our country. We need to establish and reestablish, right, that we have a secular nation that is Christian in nature or Christian in virtue. It is not a country for sale. Well, except it is. Hopefully that changes, folks. We're in for some big, big changes coming up. All right. I kicked the show off. It is now your turn, Mr. Uman. What is on your mind? And Uman is going to come right out the gate. This tariff shit and China limiting exports of rare earth metals is ridiculous. Things were just settling down and looking like they were getting better. Now everyone's worried and uncertain again. Absolutely. Right. If you're going to, let's try a boxing analogy, right? If you keep coming at the opponent the same way every time, right, he's going to figure you out and hit you. So Trump plays this game where he's dodging and weaving. He threatens tariffs. He takes them back. He makes a deal. He takes it back, right? All of these games. Well, it's really great to keep the opponent, if we don't want to call him an enemy, keep your opponent off balance. Unfortunately, in business, in the United States and other countries as well, but especially in the United States, how can you expect a small business, medium or large corporation, how can you expect anybody to make an investment, to make a decision if they don't know which way the economy is going to go? Especially if you're working with raw materials, If you're relying on imports and exports, how can you make a deal if the rules are changing? And that's what tariffs are, the rules of international trade, right? Export, import tariffs. That's the rules of international trade. And the United States of America gets a boatload of their materials from other countries. China does too, folks. But China right now, rare earths are used in electronics and also largely in the permanent magnets that are used in high-powered motors, like EV motors. Without them, we're done. But we are in the United States trying to step up rare earth production, mining, etc. But to open a mine, first you have to have real estate. Then you have to do what's called exploration, which means drilling holes and finding out what's in the ground. 10 feet down, 20 feet down, 50 feet down, 100 feet down, 200 feet down. You've got to figure out what's in the ground. Gold, silver, lead, zinc, copper, uranium, nickel, iron. See what I'm saying? You got to find it. And then, well, you have to get a bunch of permits to do that. And you better be in the right jurisdiction for getting permitting easily. In other words, it takes 10 to 20 years, literally 10 to 20 years to have the real estate and get to a point where you're actually producing. And along the way, you'll spend millions and then billions of dollars developing a single mine. So when Trump says, I'm going to fuck with China, China's like, well, I get you, American, right? And they cut us off. We can't just replace that. You can't just say, well, fuck it. I'll go out in the backyard and dig up some rare earths myself. They don't call them rare earth for no reason. They're very difficult to find, very difficult to process. And opening mines is incredibly difficult. Now, I think we've got two companies in America that are producing rare earths. I think there's actually a mine in California. I'm surprised Gavin Newsom hasn't filled it in with raw sewage. And then there's a company called Energy Fuels, and that's it. Yeah, we're in big trouble. And it's not just rare earths. It's so many more things. But the world is moving, everyone, like I said, into a protectionist, nationalist position. The problem with, let's see, Australia, Canada, England, and the United Kingdom, Europe, and the United States is we've imported third world trash by the millions into our countries who are trying to convert it into third world trash. In fact, I've watched so many videos in Australia and Canada of people from India taking literal trash, garbage, instead of putting it in a garbage can, which costs money to have picked up. Instead of taking it to the dump, they take it to the river and throw it in the river. Or they throw it on the side of the road. Or they literally dump their garbage in parking lots and just drive away. That is third world fucked up mentality. Let's not talk about what they do to women and children that they catch. That's a hell of a mess, man. It is a hell of a mess. And we're not going to get the stability we want as long as Trump is keeping everyone off balance. I've said in the past, with respect to literal fisticuffs, when you get in a fight, it is rare, and I mean very rare, to win a fight without getting hurt. Even if you win, typically you hurt your hands, and a lot of times you break your fingers from punching someone. It's not easy to get in a fight. So, in other words, if we're in a tariff war, a fight, we get fucked up as well as the other people. A lot of times fights, punches go back and forth. Punches go back and forth. Everyone gets hurt. So even when you win, you lose. It's very difficult stuff. I'm not saying it's easy to be the president, but hey, this is where we're at. All right. Thank you, Mr. Uman. Great topic, folk. Expect more chaos. Expect more confusion. Expect more misdirection. Expect more waffling and flip-flopping and bullshitting and lying, and it's hit the fan. You've got to expect it. Now I want to switch to what the hell is going on in our country. Get your questions down below, please. Friday free-for-all. I'm going to get to all of you if I can. In the state of Virginia, they have a couple of problems. They're having an election for governor, and they're having an election for attorney general. So the idiot Democrat running for governor is named Abigail Spanberger. And you can guess, yes, I call her Spam Burger. And Jay Jones is the attorney general candidate. So Abigail Spanberger was in a debate, a televised debate with a Republican, a hardcore Marine Republican, Winsome Sears, a black woman who is an intellectual. And she just nailed Abigail left and right and smeared spam all over her face. She kept asking her about Jay Jones and her endorsement of him, and has she withdrawn it? Why is that important? Because Jay Jones, an attorney running for the Attorney General's office in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth, celebrated on social media by saying that his opponent should be shot and have his kid shot dying in his arms. And Abigail Spanberger will not remove her endorsement over this violent bastard of a piece of shit. Once again, Democrats calling for violence, Democrats promoting violence. I can't even say vaccine without getting a video removed. But this motherfucker can literally use terrorism. And terrorism, folks, is the act of using violence or the threat of violence to influence the political decision of others. All right, Jay Jones, threatening his opponent, saying he needs to be shot in the face. Yeah, sounds like terrorism to me. But Spanberger will not remove her support for this guy. This is proof, folks. This is evidence. It is top tier, prima facie evidence that Democrats approve of and use terrorist violence to gain and hold power. Spanberger, by the way, not only would she not condemn this asshole and his threats, she also wants boys in locker rooms harassing girls and waving their dicks at them. That's right. She's all about the woke, left, trans, gay, fruitcake, pedophile. She's about all that shit. I mean, if you're for boys in the locker rooms and transgenderism, you're for all that dirty shit. Period. Right? If they're willing to say what she's saying and not willing to condemn what needs to be condemned, imagine what she's thinking that isn't even making it in there. But Winsome Sears kicked her ass, wiped the floor with her. Like I said, she's also a Marine. That makes me proud. No one's perfect. Redneck Roughneck says, now, John, you should never devile spam like that. You're correct. It's true. It's true. Gotta love the spam. Got shelves full of it in the old Prepared Mind bunker. Now, yep, spam. Spam, I think, is something we should all have because it is also Muslim repellent. You can take a can of spam, open the top, and dip all of your ammunition in it. And every one of those bullets guarantees the enemy a place in hell because they don't like that. In fact, in a couple of countries, I think England, Ireland, and Scotland, possibly Wales, women there are now getting pet pigs to protect them. There was a store, I can't remember what country it was in. It has a very large, looked like a Yorkie pig, Yorkshire pig, walking around the front of the store. Guess why? To keep people away. And there's two religions out there that do not like pork. It's the same two religions that hate Gentiles and hate the infidel white folk, and they hate Europeans and they hate Americans. Pigs at stores, pigs as pets, pigs in the pantry. You know why? Pork it puts on the most weight and meat of any animal per pound of feed given. In other words, it's the least expensive meat to grow and make. Any event, am I going to listen to people who think it's okay to have sex with minors about whether or not it's good to eat pork? Yeah, you can make up your own decision, your own mind about what you want to eat, but don't tell me eating pork is bad when these groups tell me that fucking underage girls and boys is just fine. And speaking of that, Democrats are getting caught left and right with pedophilia on their phones, in their computers, and oh yeah, raping little boys and girls. And they're still pushing the lie that Jizzy Maxwell slept with underage girls. No, she fucking raped them. She's a fucking rapist. All right, and a pedophile at that. Mr. Ooman, I think I probably caused enough trouble with my monologue and bullshit already. And we got Diving Frog, and he checks in. He says, John, I see where Bill Gates wants to limit the amount of meat that we eat. 30 grams of chicken, 15 grams of beef, lamb, pork per day. That's 1 ounce, 1/2 ounce. You know what? Bill Gates can, he can go down the street all that way, make a left, make a right, make a left, make a right, and just follow that all the way down and just fuck all the way off. Right off the fucking cliff. Yeah, Bill Gates, he wants a lot of things. What I find repulsive and disgusting is Bill Gates has enough money to do whatever he wants, to relax, enjoy life, live life to the fullest. He doesn't. He is a miserable fuck who won't let his own children get the mRNA boosters and shots, by the way. No. His family did not get them. He won't even take a fake one where they got the fake needle with the fake syringe on it that looks like it injects the person. No, they won't even get close to that. They don't want an accidental jab. But Bill Gates, he could do so much good in life, but he refuses. Instead, he wants to kill humanity. He's a fucking eugenicist. And if he had his way, he would commit every vile form of murder he could get away with. I've got no love for the man. He's a piece of shit. Anyways, thank you, Diving Frog, for touching on that very raw nerve. We need meat to live. We need fat. We need protein. We need cholesterol. Oh, yeah. Ooman and I were discussing cholesterol earlier. The body needs cholesterol. Our brains are made out of cholesterol. You take cholesterol out of your diet and you start taking anti-cholesterol drugs, and guess what? Your cholesterol goes down. How's that good for the brain if it's made out of cholesterol? In fact, cholesterol. Yeah, I had last time I had my blood checked, the doctor said, "Oh my God, John, your cholesterol is just over the line in the bad zone." And I said, I'll pass. No, you need to get statins. No, I do not. I do not need to lower my cholesterol. I tell you what, I'll change my diet and see if that helps. In any event, I told the doctor, no, go fuck yourself. Now, here's the deal. Why would I trust a doctor about cholesterol when we learn that doctors will fucking kill you to put mRNA in you? In your children. The same doctors that make their millions of dollars giving infants, toddlers, children, booster after booster after booster of VAXXXs, which are strongly linked to what? Autism. We all know it, but let's pretend like it's not real. Why would you listen to a fucking doctor? Now, I do have a personal physician. He is also a personal friend of mine. I call him Dr. John, and I trust him. But, I mean, how do you get a doctor that you can trust? Just like any job, folks, I interview people. In any event, here we are, folks. It is Friday. It is October 10th. Shit is hit the fan. We've just gone through a week load of craziness. And Uman says they're just fishing for a commission from Big Pharmacy. That's right, for every prescription they write. Yeah, Big Pharmacy wants me to lower my cholesterol so that it causes other health problems. Big Pharmacy wants to make money off of their drugs and their replacement drugs and their new drug and this drug and that drug and the other drug. I'll pass. 140 years in business, and Pfizer has cured 0 diseases. Right. Thank you, Mr. Uman. Is it my turn again? I think it's my turn. We just did Mr. Frog. Oh, anyways, Antifa in Portland has declared war on the United States military, Homeland Security, Immigration Customs Enforcement, Border Patrol, and any law enforcement that opposes them. They have put out through social media a call to action on a specific date and place and time, saying they want to have a mass laser attack on any helicopters flying over Portland this Saturday, October 11th, tomorrow. Remember when Joe Biden said Antifa is just an idea? It's not a group. They're not terrorists. It's just an idea. Communism's a fucking idea too, and they're real. Hey, fascism, that's an idea, and it's real. You bet. And Jimmy Kimmel also tried that. This is what's fucked up. Antifa, it's not real. It's just an idea. This idea that can organize and commit acts of terrorism. Jimmy, you want to change your treasonous perspective, you dumb fuck? Well, it doesn't matter what Jimmy Kimmel thinks or says, right? I think about 17 people listened to Jimmy Kimmel, so nobody really saw what he or heard what he said. I'm starting to want to have a place to put all of these terrorists and these terrorist supporters. I want to put them in a place that isn't any fun. You see, terrorism is a crime, and being a terrorist is also treasonous if you're an American citizen. I don't think there's enough room in Guantanamo Bay. So where can we put all these anti-American fucks? I'm starting to want that place, folks. I'm starting to want it. I don't know, maybe somewhere up in the plains of Montana, or maybe up in a very, very, very cold and inhospitable place in northern Utah. Someplace very cold. How about Alaska? Alaska is the largest state in the Union, geographically. The lowest population density. And there's some very rugged wilderness out there. I think that'd be a great place to relocate all of these communists, all of these anti-American religious freaks on both sides of the aisle. Again, I don't like either side because they don't like me. They're fucking liars. Literally, that's part of their religious beliefs is lie, get what you want. Lie, get what you want. One says, we're going to take over your country by force. The other says, we're going to take over your country by buying your people, bribing them, extorting them, tricking them. They're both, as far as I'm concerned, anti-American and enemies of freedom and liberty. All right, enough of that. It is now your turn again on this Free for All Friday. What do you guys want to discuss? Down below is the comment section. And here comes Not a Bot Lynn, who writes, have you heard about the bomb factory in Tennessee blowing up today? Yeah, I did. An explosives and munitions factory in Tennessee had an explosion today. Was it a terrorist act? Was it an accident? I don't know, because they're not saying. I looked into it. I looked here and there, and I didn't find any convincing stories either way. And I can't trust the police. I can't trust state officials. I certainly can't trust federal bureaucrats to explain what happened. Let's see, there's this other group called the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, aka the ATF, who are known for their anti-American stance on the Second Amendment. And they're a bunch of fucking liars. So I wouldn't trust them to give me the facts about an explosives accident at a bomb factory. Additionally, and to continue the thought, federal bureaucracies lied like, well, East Palestine, Ohio, I believe, or is it Pennsylvania? Oh man, is it Ohio? Pennsylvania, East Palestine. I think it's Ohio. Ohio. They lied to us about that train, about the chemicals, about the fire, about the danger, about the risks, about the threats, about the side effects, about the long-term consequences. They lied about every fucking thing. You cannot trust the federal government. Shall I go on? No problem. Let's talk about the FBI. Well, let's see. Cash and his eyeballs. Yeah, you make me the director, and I'll turn the FBI into a museum, and I'll fire everybody, and we'll fix everything. Pam Bondi. How many arrests? 0. We have 1 indictment with a summons for Comey. They've already done the investigation. They already have the facts and the evidence. They haven't arrested Letitia James, the Obamas, the Clintons, the Pelosi's, no one. No one's been arrested. Letitia James is next up. She's supposed to be arrested. She is supposed to be indicted and prosecuted. I know, I just turned your comment about the Tennessee bomb into a discussion about the inept, incompetent, fucked up federal government bureaucracies. But bomb factory in Tennessee blowing up. I wonder how many of the employees there take bomb materials, explosives, home. I know you're not supposed to. I'm sure it's heavily regulated. But how do they do that, right? There was a fireworks factory that was near my place in California, 25 years ago. They wouldn't let you get anywhere near that fucking place. Even if you had a reason to be there, you couldn't just go there. In any event, this is interesting, and it could be that because it's a bomb factory or an explosives factory, there's not going to be a lot of witnesses and a lot of information leaking out to the public. I'm sure the owner, whoever the corporation is that owns this explosives place, I'm sure they're not going to want to tell everyone what happened and make themselves look like a bunch of incompetent boobs. But we'll see if we continue to have explosions and we continue to have maybe security failures. Just putting that out there. Could have been a security failure. Maybe someone was trying to steal something. Maybe someone wanted to make their own bomb and they blew themselves up. I don't know. Don't know. I'm sure that, all of the companies like Raytheon are going to keep accidents like this very close to the vest. Okay, thank you, Not About Lynn. It's an ongoing thing, and I'm going to keep an eye out for it. It's something of interest to me. It's going to be a 3-day weekend, my friends. Monday is Columbus Day. This is the Free For All Friday. I take Saturdays off, do a little rest and recovery. It is the 7th day of the week, after all. And then Sunday Night Live, I will be back. Sunday Night Live at the Zoo, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. They used to call it Eastern Standard Time, EST, but now it's just ET, Eastern Time. But to me, ET sounds like extra testicle or extraterrestrial. So I like to say Eastern Standard Time still. I guess I just age myself. All right, Mr. Ooman, what is the next? Oh, wait, it's my topic. It's my topic. Never mind, fuck it. I want a rhetorical question from Dr. 762, who writes, hey, John, rhetorical question. How do we know that a fight or a war is over? I'm going to give you the real way you know There's a way to know a war is over, and that's when both sides quit shooting. One side cannot shoot anymore. They cannot put up a fight anymore. They surrender. You have to have surrender to know a war is over. And then, woof, it is not officially over. A surrender is a surrender. You have to sign a peace treaty. And in that peace treaty are the terms of surrender that all sides to the war agree to. That is how you know when something's over. Someone cannot fight anymore. They surrender. You have an armistice or a peace treaty, and both sides agree to the terms, sign it, and then they do as they're told and they do as they say. How can you have a peace treaty with people who have no honor, no dignity, no integrity, no morality, no decency, and all they fucking do is lie and want to kill other people? It's a problem, isn't it? That's a fucking problem. But that's the rhetorical question. Or would that be a rhetorical answer? Ooman says, I'm just curious to see how long the ceasefire lasts. What's the over-under on that? Man, I don't know. Yeah, we're in a ceasefire. It's not peace. It's a ceasefire. Folks, let me tell you a little story about World War II and the Germans and the American army in World War II. At Christmas, guess what they did? They're all fighting. They got trenches. They've got front lines. It was an ugly war. But they did a ceasefire. They wanted peace for Christmas to celebrate the birth of Christianity, the Savior Jesus, right? Guess what they did? Guess what they did? They walked and exchanged gifts with Germans, with Nazis, with the SS, right? And the Germans gave presents to the Americans. You think for a fucking second that could ever happen in Palestine with Gaza and Israel? Well, they don't share religions, for one. They don't share culture, for another. What do I mean by they don't share a culture? Well, the Palestinians are a people that have occupied Palestine for several centuries at least. And they claim they've been there for thousands of years. And they actually have Semitic DNA in their bodies. And the people that call themselves Israelis, they took over the country in 1948, and they came from Europe, European nations. They're white people who came from Poland. But now they claim they're not white. They claim they're Jewish and superior. Those two people, you can't get along. They couldn't have peace. It's not possible. Crazy stuff. In any event, the world is a fucking wreck. The world is a wreck. Where do we go next, folks? Where do we go next? Let's do this. I want to stick with another big story. Right now, Ukraine, capital city, Kiev. That's the seat of power for one of the most infamous and vile homosexuals on the planet, Voldemort Zelensky. That's right. He's short, he's small, he's incompetent, and he's very, very, very gay. Very gay. He's most famous, folks, for playing a piano with his little dick. Literally. That's what he's famous for. Kiev is now in utter darkness. Darkness. Why? Because the Russians decided, wow, you want to fuck with us? We're going to use missiles, and we're going to use drones, and we're going to go after your capital. And they took out their infrastructure. They absolutely blasted to fucking pieces their electricity and their water supply. Now, Vladimir Putin has been nice for years and years since this special military operation, SMO, has taken off. Since it started. I mean, the war and the destruction and the genocide and the murder has been ongoing for several years before Russia said, that's it, we're going to come across the border and we're going to fuck you up. But Zelensky, in his, infinite lack of fucking wisdom, at the behest of his superiors, sent a long-range drone into Russia and blew up more civilian infrastructure. And I said at that time, Russia is going to retaliate. So power outages in Ukraine are expected across the country, and winter is coming, folks. Winter is coming. You need electricity. So how smart was Zelensky and the European Union with NATO and the World Economic Forum? How smart were they to bomb Russia with their drones? They're fucking idiots. Who suffers the most in all of this? Well, Ukraine's civilian population, as usual. Why? Because the asshole Nazi socialists in the European Union and the Nazis in NATO and the Nazis in the World Economic Forum want war. They want war to hide their financial and social policy failures. They've imported pointless, worthless, unskilled, violent immigrants, and they've destroyed their infrastructure. They've destroyed their production base. And now they're like, whoops, I guess we fucked that up. And so now they want to go to war. They're trying expansionism, which every dying empire does. Every dying empire, in order to feed its corrupt lust and thirst for wealth, will always expand out and absorb other weaker people and control them, steal their wealth to keep themselves alive while they look for more wealth to steal. Persians did it. Romans did it. English did it. Oh, yeah. Never fails, folks. But yeah, now here's where we're at. They are continuing to push for World War III over there. And I think that it's very common in world history for this to happen. In other words, human nature continues to play out the same because these people are morons and they're evil. All right, that was my topic. What do you guys want to talk about? Mr. Uman. Mikey G checks in and he says, hey, why the news blackout on the 3I Atlas, which is a comet or asteroid? Or is it a spacecraft? Boink, 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 boink. Right, this thing came into the solar system a couple of months ago, was identified, and of course, the scientists said it's not acting or looking like a natural object. We've had this happen with several other objects that have come from deep space into our solar system, and nothing's threatened us. But yeah, this Atlas object, right? They're saying it's could be a spacecraft. Doesn't look natural, doesn't act natural. All of a sudden, they're not saying a word about it. You're right. It's not in the news. Last I read about it was one article, I think 5 days ago, maybe 7 days ago, Mikey. But yeah, they're being very quiet about it. Now, I want to back up and say, I don't trust scientists. Give me one good reason why I should. COVID, that was scientific. Wearing masks to stop COVID, that was scientific. Putting gene therapy in your body to stop a virus that is extremely common, not science. Weather modification, that's sciencey, all right. Science of death. How about climate change and climate crisis? There's science for you. How about the moon landings in 1969 to 1974? There's some science for you. I love seeing the lunar lander with Scotch tape holding it together. So many anomalies that just show that there's no fucking way. In fact, Werner von Braun, everyone know who he is, right? He's the Nazi SS officer who ran Peenemünde in Germany, developing the buzz bombs that they used to bomb the shit out of England in World War II. He came to America. We made him a great hero. He developed our space program. He said, in order to get a rocket to the moon, it has to carry enough fuel to make the rocket itself bigger than the Empire State Building. And of course, there's a point of diminishing return in all this. You need that much fuel to get there, but do you have engines powerful enough to lift off the ground that much fucking weight? And Elon Musk has said recently as well, I think it takes like 20 of his heavy lift rockets to carry enough fuel to get to the moon. In other words, we can't get to the fucking moon, but somehow we magically did it in 69, 74 because of science. It was more of a Cold War trick to fool the world and the Russians. By the way, the world and also especially the Russians were not fooled because of this thing called arithmetic and math. But that's the game we play. And there's a game being played, Mikey, over this comet. Yeah, over the comet. Uman said, it's a big nothing burger with extra nothing on top. Get your Nikes ready because we're going to run and we're going to run for our lives. Is that why we need our Nikes?
You remember the death cult or the last time that other comment came by?
Oh, Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate, right? It was escaping me. Yeah,
the Velcro wrap on the high tops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your Nikes ready. And if you remember that guy, he had the big round eyes. His eyes were bugging out. Very much the MK Ultra drugged out fucking look. The Charles Manson look. The fucking mass murdering shooter look. It's a great look.
Yeah. And then Doc 762 also added that it cannot be observed at the moment because it is now passing behind the sun or something for the next month.
The old hide behind the sun trick.
Yeah. Just wanted to clarify. I'll let you get back to it.
Okay. All right. I don't want everyone to think I'm putting words in Benjamin Netanyahu's mouth. So I'm going to actually give you what Benjamin Netanyahu said verbatim. In an interview he recently did that was televised and put through social media, Benjamin King Bibi Netanyahu stated, quote, "We studied the Talmud, which developed a capacity for innovative thinking." There is a lot of logic in there. I like the logic where it says to have sex with children. I like the logic where it says go ahead and steal or rape or kill or screw people over. The Gentiles are cattle. Yeah, that's logic, all right. Folks, it's an awful, awful fucking book. And they read it and they study it and they believe it and they use it. Yeah, so let me give you some more stuff. According to the Talmud, Jesus, our Savior as Christians, is in hell right now in a giant pot of feces, shit, and he's boiling. And Jesus, according to the Talmud, is one of 3 of Judaism's arch enemies. Jesus is the enemy of Judaism and Jews according to the Talmud. So how can we be Judeo-Christian? Let's see. According to the Talmud, Mary was a whore, and Jesus was the bastard son of a Roman soldier. I believe his name was Pantera. But that's the story, according to the Talmud. This is what Benjamin Netanyahu and the other Israeli leadership believe, and they've studied the Talmud, and they've developed a capacity for innovative thinking, as if no one else ever has innovative thinking. And there's a lot of logic in there, because it's logical, right? Talmudic Jews can take advantage of, cheat, lie, and steal, and even kill Goyim, non-Jews, and their own people as well, because they claim they are God's chosen people, and they don't have to obey the law, any earthly law, period, because they're special. They believe that Jesus practiced black magic and that Jesus was a man whore, meaning he was sexually promiscuous. They believe that Christianity is an orgiastic cult whose practitioners engage in cannibalism. And this coming from the Talmud, a religion that accepts and promotes and pushes homosexuality, bisexuality, pedophilia, and transgenderism. Right? I did not bring up the Talmud, which is the religious beliefs of today's Israeli government and leaders, as explained by Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu, decided it was a smart thing to bring up the source of their belief systems and the source of their ideas. Just wow. Okay, man, where are we going next? I don't like any of these people that want to kill us, folks. I don't care what country they're from. I don't care what their religion is. If they hate America, if they hate freedom, if they hate liberty, if they hate white people, if they hate black people, if they hate any people, I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't have to like them. It's not anti-Semitic to be opposed to someone who wants to fucking kill me or rape me or both. Ooh, man, who's next? And we got Diving Frog. He says, John, it's the corporate and political body that keeps playing with pricing and availability. That's why you pay $20 for a can of coffee that we paid $8 for 5 years ago. Well, fortunately for me, I still have lots of coffee from cafefe.com. And I drink that. That way I don't have to pay $20 for a can of coffee. That's right. The good people at www.cafefe.com. Anyways, I haven't talked about them in a little while. Delicious coffee. But yeah, it is the political body. And tariffs, coffee comes from another country, subject to tariffs. A lot of raw materials, food or manufacturing comes from other things. And yes, it's also corporations. To combat inflation or to make it look like they're not raising their prices, corporations shrink the size of the product. Have you looked at ice cream lately? What used to be a half gallon is now a quart. What used to be a quart is now a pint. Ice cream. Have you gotten an ice cream bar? They're fucking tiny. I know I'm 6'7". I know I'm 275 pounds. I know I'm a very large person and I can eat a lot of ice cream. But when I hold it and it feels like I've got, shrinkflation. Yeah, it's all games, folks. It's all games. Back to America. Thank you, Diving Frog. The Oregon National Guard. Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, Antifa, Heartland stuff. The Oregon National Guard's chief general, he's a brigadier general, has vowed to, quote, protect protesters who are targeting immigrations and customs enforcement facilities. He says it's his job to protect protesters. Antifa are not protesters. They are terrorists. They've been designated terrorists. Their actions indicate they're terrorists, from violent threats, which is terrorism, to actual acts of violence, which is terrorism, both of which are designed and intended to create a political decision that favors them. And here we are. Not only do the police, but now the National Guard in Oregon bend the knee, kiss the boots of a bunch of Antifa fucks. And if he does not arrest, if he does not obey the president, he is disobeying a lawful order from the commander-in-chief. People like this asshole, this brigadier general, the governors like Jabba Prickster and California's New Scum, and all the other politicians who are all committing insurrection, promoting terrorism, and even treason, they need public arrest. And I want it to happen. It is time for it to happen. Oh, the tears from the left, the howls of protest And the fear from the commies will smell it. We'll be able to smell it. I just want you to imagine every single treasonous, traitorous, insurrectionist, piece of shit politician. It's the police. You're under arrest. Prickster, Newsom, Kotex, Hochul. Who's that one? Gretchen Whitmore. Arrested, put in handcuffs, and led away. Peacefully, nicely. They can go to jail. And they can be tried for terrorism or insurrection, which should require a courts-martial. Going to politicians that are calling for violence, like that jackass attorney general candidate in Virginia. How about Hakeem Jeffries? That's right, the sombrero dollar store Obama himself. Let's see, who else could we put in that, shall we say, arena? Who else has called for violence? Just about all of them. All of them are also trying to give aid and comfort to terrorists. That makes you a criminal. Right? If you support insurrection, you are an insurrectionist. If you support treason, you're treasonous. I would love to see the arrest. What do you think would happen? Well, every one of us would stand up and raise our hand and go, I voted for that shit, because we did. We want this country cleaned up. We want patriotism to be back. In fact, patriotism. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has announced to the media and everyone that the Marine Corps reenlistment has met a year-long goal in 2 fucking weeks. Their whole goal for the Marine Corps was filled in 2 weeks. That means people are signing up. The recruits that want to be Marines are patriots who want to clean up the country, just like you and me. They want to protect it from threats and harm, just like you and me. And I think they should be taken in, trained, and provided the tools and led properly by patriotic NCOs and officers. No more woke DEI, anti-American, communist bullshit out of the Pentagon. It can go 2 ways, folks. We can either go all the way and clean this fucking country up, and Trump had better hurry up, and Pam Bondi better learn to do her fucking job, and Kash Patel with his eyeballs better straighten the fuck up and focus. Or we're going to lose sometime in the next 2, 4, or 6 years to Democrats who will undoubtedly, unabashedly, without hesitation, they will, and I guarantee this, folks, they will come after you and me and lock all of us up under any crime, any made-up pretense they want, just like they did the January 6th protesters, where they called them insurrectionists while having 274 FBI agents undercover in the crowd, along with Antifa, to incite violence and then frame the President of the United States, Trump, right, as a traitor, which didn't stick because there was no evidence. But they arrested every single American they could that was anywhere in Washington, D.C. for committing the crime of parading without a permit, trespassing on public property, Congress, after being invited in by the police. What the fuck? Imagine what they'll do after 4 years of Trump again. Imagine what they'll do to us if they get back in power and we don't clean up this communist, anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-European, anti-decency, right? You know, I hate to be that. You've got 2 choices. Pick a side, either the left or the right. I say I choose freedom because I don't want fascism. I don't want communism. They're over on the left. They are both authoritarian systems, communism and fascism. I'm way over here, folks. I want freedom and liberty for me, you, all of us. For me, you, our parents, and our children and our grandchildren. For the future of America. That's me. Call me crazy. Anyways, folks, it is Friday. It is Friday Free for All, and I want to thank you for coming to the show. I will be back with you, I hope, Sunday Night Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Be there or be square. And get prepared. Go to thepreparedmind.club. Shop for what you need. Sign up. Support the channel. I appreciate all you guys. I'll see you Sunday.